In Notes episode, Chris has basically died. He is sick, and I'm just gonna go over some what the hell happened in jiu-jitsu recently, because holy smokes, there was a lot of stuff going on. Also, just the tease, I have this special, he's like a gay fireman with an ass of a professional bowler. He's a brown belt. I train with him here, and he's going to be coming on. And then we're also going to have Professor Paul Nava. He's 11-time Master World Champ. He just won NOGI World Championship this weekend. So we're going to have both them on, and I'm going to be chatting with them both. So that's coming up. I bit my tongue, so it's a little fat. So if I talk weird, that's what it is. Let's just get right into it. We're jumping. So first thing is our boy, I'm looking off to a screen here. Our boy, Gordon Ryan, coming out admitting that he does steroids, PEDs, whatever you want to call them. Now, old Gordon here, Gordinho, he is basically just saying that why wouldn't you test? If you're in a sport that doesn't test in general, which jiu-jitsu essentially is that. I mean, there's some like retard, I'm also trying not to swear, say retard, any of those other silly words that we should be allowed to say. The algorithm is crushing us. Did you see that last episode with me and Chris? I make the thumbnail about I shouldn't even say the guy's name. I make that thumbnail, the title, clickbait all day, and we got a guy that's like he's got a ton of followers with the shittiest opinions you could imagine. Not all of them, but the one that we talked about, and it gets like 250 views. When we got episodes talking about my butt that get thousands of views. So I think the algorithm throttled us because I said COVID, I said fat, all those things. So I'm gonna try to limit that as much as I can. And now I just made more work for myself because I have to bleep. Focus, you son of a bitch. I gotta bleep all that stuff. So is what it is. So anyways, Gordon's talking about doing steroids, and he says you're an idiot if you don't do it when you compete in leagues that or associations or federations that do allow it. Now, with that, he also brought up like how people bring up his stomach issues are caused by it. A pretty valid excuse, I would say, is then why don't all the power lifters and bodybuilders have these kind of stomach issues? I'm not saying they don't have issues, but they don't have the same kind of issues. I agree that there's some validity there. I never thought that the steroids caused it. I always thought it was his antibiotic stuff because the blue basement, Henzo's, where they used to train, was just a cesspool of disease. And that's why Craig Jones dealt with the same issues. But also Craig admits to doing steroids as well. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, that kind of fascinating. He also says he wasn't taking steroids in, I believe it was 2017 when he had his first big run at ADCC, where he beat Keenan Cornelius, a submission. He beat Yuri Samois and Rustem Chiziev. So he's saying, I beat these guys either way. Now, would he have the dominance that he does? That's hard to say. I don't think, he obviously wouldn't be as big as he is. So going and becoming dual champion multiple times, as in absolute and his division, I think would have been a lot harder. But yeah, kind of interesting that Gordon's just coming out. I think it's probably a smart move though. He's never really been like the guy that denies it. He's always been someone that kind of hints that he actually does it, but never full on admits it. I think this is actually a good move for him to do. And we'll see how it plays out. It's a bold move, Cotton. something else that's kind of spicy, that's fun, is this guy right here, Pat Downey. So this year, NOGI Worlds, we just had it. Kind of interesting because there was a couple super high level wrestlers, more than just Pat Downey and what's the gal's name that trained at Unity? She's a multiple Olympic medalist, Helena something. She went into blue belt NOGI Worlds and she won with submissions all the way around, which even if she didn't, I think she's been training for just a few weeks in jiujitsu. Even if she didn't just train for that time, I would expect her to go into blue belt. Blue belt is beginner. I understand nowadays, especially in the gi, even in no-gi, I guess, the blue belt level is higher level than it used to be, without a doubt. But at the same time, it's still beginner. Because if we're doing apples to apples, and you take a competition blue belt, I'm not talking about someone like me that's just a hobbyist, run-of-the-mill black belt in the gym that a competition level blue belt might come and destroy. I'm not saying that. I'm comparing them to their peers, which are other competition purple belts, brown belts, black belts, okay? I'm a sorry-ass hobbyist, so you can't compare them to me. You compare them to their peers. And a Olympic wrestler, or like Pat Downey said, he wants to get his black belt faster than anybody in like, he said something like just a couple of years. And then people were like, well, have you ever heard of Travis Stevens? And then he made the excuse of like, well, he's an Olympic judoka. Well, bitch, you're a world level wrestler. And then this Helena chick is a Olympic wrestler. Like, oh, to me, it's just mat time. So, I think them going into the blue belt division is a little silly. It's not to say they couldn't have tough matches, but I don't know. I'm not that impressed. Now, purple belt, I think that's where they should have been. That's where their entry should be. When you're that high level in another grappling art, I think purple belt is where they should come in. Now, I'm not saying a college wrestler that's just not even an all-American D3, D2, D1 level wrestler needs to go straight to purple belt. I don't think that, because we see like guys like Brandon Reed, where he's actually a really high-level collegiate wrestler, and in Pixley, they're having troubles at purple belt, right? Either they're not winning worlds or they are, and they're having really hard matches. So if you take that notch down, you're gonna have anomalies, J-Rod, Nicky Rod, and some others, but there's gonna be Ruth, what's his name? His last name's Ruth, Ed Ruth, Bellator MMA fighter, super high level collegiate national champ. He didn't make waves, right? And then there's others to say on top of that. But let's look at Pat Downey. Why was he in the news? Everyone knows, most people know, the guy's been kicked out of wrestling because he's a little bit of a hothead. Well, let's just watch what happened at his. He chokes out his opponent, which is some like Russian Dagestani guy. And then he's choking him out. Oh, he did. And then the guy gets a little saucy, pushes him a little bit. And then the ref's like, hey, come on, guys, Bolhada is gone. And then Pat Downey decides to mimic him sleeping. And then the guy throws the weakest hook ever. And then they just start kind of going at it. You want some? You want some? And then Pat Downey turns into an angry elf and is just talking about the Christmas list, how pissed off he is about it. So being on the naughty list now, IBJJF, it looks like IBJJF kicked him out. Well, they kicked him out of the venue, and they didn't allow him in the venue the next day, which is like, is he barred from that event, or is he kicked out of all IBJJF? I don't know. He also said he never wants to do IBJJF again, so, because they don't pay their athletes and stuff like that. But in my opinion, when you're at the amateur level, which blue, purple is amateur. Once again, not saying I've rolled with adult level podium major and champions. I rolled with a brown belt champion, adult, and I get it. Like, I'm 41 and they're gonna smoke me. Even our boy, the Vanilla Gorilla, the French Vanilla Gorilla, shout out to him. He just got promoted to brown belt. He's a Master 1 purple belt. I'm sure that guy could just ragdoll me. It is what it is. So we're not talking about comparing to my bald ass. We're talking about comparing to their peers. So yeah, Pat Downey might have been kicked out of IBJJF, but I don't think he cares a whole lot because he wants to get paid, boy. And the final thing on the news and notes here is CJI 2 is finally announced. It will happen in 2025, August. And Craig came out with some details of how it's going to be different. He has a video that he posted just a couple hours ago here, and he is basically talking about how it came to fruition. There's a little bit of a history lesson, and it's not till the end of this video that you'll see that he talks about what's going to actually be different. So a couple of things that will be changing, because there are some major changes that will happen, and it's going to be a team event. It's going to have 8 teams battling for $1 million. So instead of just single athletes, there's going to be a team style. That team style rule set is going to be quintet. I love it. If you watch a quintet style event, it is awesome, especially when you do King of the Hill, so the winner stays in. Then you have the ability to get cool matchups. When like Gordon Ryan has done this event, or even Craig, it sometimes can come down where to win, Gordon Ryan will have to beat 3 guys in a row with only a minute in between matches. I love it. It creates a lot of drama. We ended up having one of the coolest moments in jiu-jitsu, in my opinion. And I believe the initial quintet, which is where we had Haisam Rita coming onto the, blocking myself. Haisam Rita coming onto the scene and submitting Richie Martinez, and then Gio Martinez comes in, super undersized, and ends up submitting Haisam in that kind of event, which I thought that was pretty sweet. And then we're also gonna have Craig in a super fight. He didn't say who, but they pretty much have it locked in. But some of the teams he was talking about having in the team competition: Autos, New Wave, B Team, of course, Checkmat, Gracie Baja, 10th Planet. He's not confirming these teams, but he's zeroing in on them that potentially they could all have a say in this. Is New Wave going to protest the event? Probably. I think that would be a mistake. There's no reason to. Yes, the guy talks shit about your team constantly, but money's money, you know? Seems like it wouldn't be prudent. If you guys have an opportunity, go for it. Would Gordon even be in it? I doubt it. I think it'd also be cool to see an AOJ team. I mean, how cool would that be? Kolabate, Tynan Dalpra, Gutenberg Pereira, Philippe Andrew, and Zach Kynan. That's a pretty fun team right there, I think. Let alone Mateus Rodriguez, or there's plenty of guys. But I love it. I think this is gonna be awesome. I'm buying tickets. I'm going. It's official. I do hate that they put it in August in Vegas, because for us that want to do Master Worlds, that puts us in a little bit of a predicament where we basically have to, some people are going to have to pick, honestly, which kind of sucks. Some people are going to have to pick if they want to watch CJI or compete. Most likely it's only going to be a week or 2 apart. If it's 1 week apart, I think that's actually not that bad, because then you actually get someone that can go to CJI and Master Worlds in one trip. But if it's more than a week apart, that becomes difficult. Also, can they make it CJI after Master Worlds? So let's say Master Worlds is, I don't know, but let's say it's August 7th. towards the beginning of the month. Put CJI the week after. Don't do it the week before, because a bunch of degenerates want to be able to drink and do all that kind of shit. And if they can't do that because of their weight and all that kind of stuff, that you're gonna have people making a choice there instead of just going up a weight division and like partying like they want. They're just not gonna compete, and they'll just do CGI, or they won't go to CGI and they'll just do Master Worlds, and then CGI loses out. So hopefully they think about that strategically, but I love it, and I want some more of it. So before I get into some of the events that have happened, as in like we have Who's Number One, NOGI Worlds, BJJ Stars, check out this flying armbar kind of deal here. We're gonna play it. Mayrim versus Kleber Souza. Check this out. Mayrim in the black. He's got extremely good judo. Just leg kicking this mofo. And then he's gonna hit him. Let's see, what's he get him with? I already forgot. A little Uchimata, a little fake Uchimata. Didn't really commit. Poor grips. Now he's got a nice back grip. Ooh, little Hiza. Straight into an arm bar. Are you kidding me, people? So he's gonna go, we see the nice back grip here. Oh my gosh, can we please just look at that rotation? This is why we preach back grips over just lapel grips. Look at the amount of dip and rotation he gets on this pull. Okay, dang it. Now I just went, oh my gosh. What am I, new? I know, for the audio listeners, this sucks balls. Watch the pull. Pop! It's almost more of a Sasai. It looks like he stepped on his foot rather than the shin. But look at that drive over. Now Kleber, he keeps his grip on the lapel. Oh, congratulations, boy. You play yourself. And then bam! Oh, spikes himself and turns into Christopher Reeves. Look at that. I don't know what that means. I'm too late for this. So anyways, BJJ Stars, that happened in the first round. BJJ Stars was really good. There was some crappy matches, but the lightweight tournament was great. Spoiler alert for later. Moving on, quick. I'm gonna try to bullet through this thing. What do we got? Oh, we got NOGI Worlds. We got NOGI Worlds. Kolabate versus Gabe Souza in the finals. That was a tremendous match. If we just watch just a little bit of this, I'll talk while it's going. Really cool match where Gabe Souza just jumps into like flying triangles. Gabe Souza, notoriously an extremely good passer, where you have Gabe Souza, he's the one that passed Mikey Musumeci's guard and then submitted him. Most recent person to submit Mikey Musumeci. But you see Kolabate, he's got just such good guard retention. This was a really good match. Gosh, with my fat ass tongue, I feel like I'm talking like Destiny, that weirdo. Little lull in the match, but it's a great match. If I can recommend one, I would absolutely recommend that match. It was action packed. Some other matches or people to check out. We have Lucas Valanche right here against Gianni Grippo. This was a cool, short match, but I think a lot of people kind of predicted that Lucas was going to lose to Grippo. Grippo's on a little bit of a tear, and he's always done really good in Nogi. But Lucas Valanche, he actually won. Beautiful man too, honestly, if I could just say so. Some other people to check out from NOGI Worlds are going to be Dorian Oliveras from New Wave. From New Wave. He just ran through the brown belt division. He also does absolute, and the guy's not very big. But he's an absolute maniac. Something that's really cool is Gabrielle Pasania. This is her debut in No-Gi. This was a really cool opening to her doing No-Gi, which we're going to probably see her at ADCC or CJI or something like that. So that's going to be kind of cool because she just tore through it. I was thinking she's going to have some problems, especially in the absolute when she has to go against people like Brianna St. Marie, Elizabeth Clay. people outside of her division that have different styles and are a little bit more hip to the Nogi scene, especially someone like Clay that's going to be able to expose maybe leg locks, even St. Marie. I think she has a good leg lock game. Gianni's like, yeah, that was really good. But she ended up beating Brianna St. Marie and she won double gold. So that's pretty cool that she came in and just looked like she didn't miss a beat going into Nogi. Also, shout out to, like I said earlier, Paul Nava. I'm training under Paul right now at his gym, and he won his 11th Master Worlds Nogi title. Also, shout out to CR Hoover. We did a video with her. She got 3rd at NOGI Worlds. Moving on to who's number 1. That happened. I wasn't super stoked about this card. This card was going to have Kaynan Duarte versus was that Roberto Jimenez as the top of the card. It was all right. It was just a lot of big boy passing. It Kaynan looked great. At the very end, he started getting tired, and then Roberto started kind of like spicing up a little bit. That was kind of cool. In the co-main, we had Pedro Marinho versus Isaac Michel. I thought that was going to be awesome. It turned out to be extremely boring. It looked like Josh Hinger versus Wagner Hoka again. Just hand fighting, no one committed to anything. Killed me. It was so boring. Don't watch it. Adele Fornerino beats Sofia Casella by a footlock. Adele's just on fire. Felipe Pena beat Declan Moody by arm and guillotine. Not a fun match, really. Daniel Saffler versus Faburi Christian. This was the match of the night. If I can recommend one match to watch, that's this one. This is a freaking awesome match. And also this Christian guy, I think he got 2nd at NOGI Worlds in his black belt debut. So that's pretty sweet. Max Hansen versus Carlos Henrique, kind of a boring match. They just had some shit talk, so it seemed like it was going to be cool. But it wasn't. And then down to BJJ Stars was also, I love BJJ Stars. I think they do a great job. They had a lightweight tournament with Hokage, Mayram, which I showed you earlier. Kennedy Maciel, one of the Sodre brothers, which when I see that name, I think this is going to be a horrible match. And he's going to make it to the finals. He's going to knock out all my favorite guys, and he's going to do it with 50-50 freaking lapel and win by an advantage. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. He was a little bit more offensive, which was great. And he tried locking some people down, but he was behind. Once he gets ahead, that's when he's Mr. Boring. But when he's behind, he can be kind of fun to watch. You also had Jansen Gomez defeating Felipe Andrew by points. Jansen finally coming back from his injury. That's a huge win against Felipe Andrew. And then Jaime Canuto against Peter Frank. My arch nemesis, Peter Frank. I have like 7 arch nemesis. I'll see him at Master Worlds, not this year, but maybe next year. And Jaime Canuto won. It was actually a close match. Peter, he has 3 submissions, a flying armbar, an ankle lock, and a wrist lock. And he put Jaime in a ankle lock for about 5 minutes, and he was going between Aoki and other styles. And I thought actually he was going to get Jaime in a couple moments, but Jaime was able to get out and defend. In the beginning of the match, though, I thought Jaime was going to actually kind of dominate Peter. I feel like they're 2 different levels, but Peter got into his good position, was able to make a match out of it. Hokage wins the lightweight tournament. Ended up being pretty darn cool. I do recommend watching his matches. You can just watch the whole thing. There's a huge, the upset with Kennedy was the crown. But Hokage versus Mayram in the finals was actually a really good match. That's it. Quick, easy. News, notes, steroids, Bomba, bowlers' butts, gay firemen. That's your future. Grappling with Podcast. I'll see you on the next.